We've got a big Rams injury update and week 1 winners and losers and some very surprising PFF grades. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet joined the party, just past 19,000 subscribers, so we know we got a lot of new listeners, a lot of new viewers lately, so join the party, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell if you want to support every single episode of Locked On Rams. Hit the like button, drop a comment down below. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. I've covered LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation. And as always, I'm joined by the Rams pre, half, and post-game show host for the Rams flagship radio station, ESPN 710 LA. Of course, he's the host of the DeMarco and Travis afternoon show on ESPN LA. By the way, Travis, on the McVay and JB Long show, McVay asked where was DeMarco, and JB Long said that he's an afternoon radio star now. So that was a little shout out to your shows. I want to point that out. But you can follow him at Travis Rogers. And on today's episode, jam-packed show, we got big injury updates. We got an update on Kevin Dotson and Steve Avila. How did Matthew Stafford's back feel after his first game? We got week 1 winners and losers and week 1 overreactions. So we'll get into all that. But first, today's episode of Locked On Rams brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can just bet $5. If your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Okay, Travis, so we'll get right into it. Matthew Stafford's got the radio show with Jim Gray now, and he talked about how he felt after his first game. He said, quote, "I feel good. First time playing football in a while. As a quarterback, we go through training camp. We don't get hit all of training camp, at least in our camp. And then you show up week 1, and it's a physical game, and it's a really good front. So there's some soreness, but nothing to deal with my back. I feel great, excited that I came out of it the way I did, and looking forward to having a good week of practice." So this is absolute music to our ears, Rams fans, to hear him feel that good after his first game. Could not be more excited about the potential of Matthew Stafford and his team now.
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, this is the best possible outcome, is that he says, yep, all good, ready to go to Nashville and take on the Titans. And I feel really good. I think you probably feel the same way, Doug, that I do, that until we see him play for a month or two and just look like himself, and I think he did look like himself in game 1 against Houston, that we're going to keep asking these questions. He's 37 years old. He's in his 17th year in the league. He's got a bad back, and these are the sorts of things that could flare up at any given time. It's not like you get through one part of this and everything's good. I mean, I know the everydayers have heard us talk about this. You have a bad back. I have a bad back. And there are days where you're like, yeah, I feel great. And then you wake up the next day and all you did was sleep, and you're like, I can't move anymore. It's a weird deal. It's going to be a part of his deal going forward. And, you know, thankfully he's got medical teams and access to procedures that can get you through a day or whatever it may be. But yeah, it's the best possible news, but I don't think we're totally out of the woods yet. And I don't think we ever will be until we're done with Matthew Stafford as the quarterback of this team.
That's absolutely true. I totally agree with that. But what I do like is that it is just kind of this acceptance that this is something he has to manage. He was asked by Jim Gray if this is something that he's going to be thinking about while he's out there for the rest of the season. And he said, I don't really feel like that's a part of it. I feel like I get so immersed in the game. If people are running around me, you spend so much time in the pocket as you get older and a little longer in the tooth, it becomes more natural. So yeah, I like that. He's like, hey man, like I got a bad back. I'm 37, as you point out. It's just something I'm going to deal with.
Yeah, it's funny because I agree with you. Like, again, well, I'll use the two of us as an example. There are times where you kind of forget that it's happening and you just live your life and it's not a big deal. And then all of a sudden it's, ooh, and it's like, oh, and then you're walking around really gingerly. So I don't know if it's going to be a pass that makes him go, ooh. I don't know if it's a hit that makes him go, ooh, or whatever it is. But It is what it's going to be. He's an older guy with a bad back, and he's out there until he's not, and he looked good. And I think one of the saving graces of this is, unlike some other guys, and I'm not mentioning anybody specifically, but if he can, he'll go. Like, he is a tough player. We've seen him take a pounding and get back up and go. This isn't him trying to nurse his way through it. He's a tough guy. So if he can play, he will.
And the beautiful thing about all this is how he performed. He finished with a 92.9 PFF grade. That was right at the top. He made 5 big-time throws in this one, didn't have a single turnover-worthy play. So if this is how Matthew Stafford looks like with a bad back, which is better than most quarterbacks in the league that are fully healthy, you got to feel really encouraged by that. Now, more injury updates and some very key ones, too. So during the game, Kevin Dotson and Steve Avila both left the game with ankle injuries. Avila, he got hurt in the game. He was replaced by Bo Limmer, but then he was able to come back in the fourth quarter after Dotson went out. And then Avila, when he came back in the game, they put Bo Limmer over to the right guard spot in place of Dotson. So that's going to be a really key area to look at, because those guys are extremely important to this offense. And Sean McVay said Kevin Dotson had a lateral ankle sprain. He'll be week to week. He said Steve also had an ankle sprain. He came back in the game after Kevin had gone out. Steve got it early in the game. He went out. Bo Limmer ended up coming in. Kevin Dotson got his ankle wrapped, and Steve did an amazing job. And those guys got their ankles hurt. So you're saying day-to-day, week-to-week, and he's kind of covering himself here. He says, when I say week-to-week, it's really day-to-day. There's a possibility they could practice. There's a possibility they may not. So we'll see how they respond the next 24 to 48 hours. And this is going to be big, because you're kind of hinting at, they could either both be available for Tennessee. They could be both out for Tennessee. So we'll wait and find out how they progress the next couple of days.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch in that, I think, Doug. Number one, if week one, you got both of your guards that had to leave the game for a period of time with injuries. Who knows how much that lingers? That once you're hurt, it kind of stays hurt all season long. It's just a matter of whether you can deal with it, whether or not you can perform at the necessary level. That's number one. Number two, I think, is that Bo Limmer was able to play both left and right guard and hold it down pretty well. I think speaks to the Rams' development. I mean, go back to last year where Bo Limmer is a 7th round draft pick, and all of a sudden he's your starting center about 4 seconds into the start of the season. And he stepped up and he did a really good job. They go out and they get Coleman Shelton this offseason, so allows Limmer to be kind of a depth piece at all 3 of those interior line positions. So good job on him. I think the part that is, most scary is, what does every quarterback since the invention of the forward pass fear? It's pressure in the middle of the line. Like when the pressure's coming from outside, they can handle that pretty well. That's something that they know how to adjust with and how to step through and avoid. But when that pressure is coming right at your face from that A gap and from over the center, from over the guards, nobody can deal with that particularly well. So I think that's definitely something to look at going into Tennessee, is whether or not the Rams are able to protect up front. Because if Matthew Stafford has pressure coming from over the center, then everything changes after that.
Absolutely. And it is absolutely, as you point out, having Bo Limmer have that versatility and get that valuable experience last year, I think is really important. And Justin Diedick wasn't really available, so he could be a guy that you see at the backup guard spot as well. And this is something that this team addressed, maybe with adding DJ Humphries in the offseason. Yeah. As far as if someone goes down the tackle spot, Alec Jackson really didn't have himself a great game, by the way. So, I mean, they've definitely given themselves some insurance at multiple positions. And that's going to be key, is when those guys get the opportunities, that they don't miss a beat. Because if you have to kind of adjust the offense just a little bit to make up for some more added pressure coming from the defense, they might consider doing that. But I think if you're this team, you look at the running game was a little choppy at times, right? Not as efficient as you wanted it to be. And just getting cohesion along that offensive line. Like Kevin Dotson is kind of like one of the unsung, like most important players for this team for what he does running duo.
Yeah, no, he's a dude. Kevin Dotson is a real guy. I agree with you that everything was a little disjointed. It was a little off up front like that. And that's why I think, we talked about it yesterday. This is why you got to be an everyday or Unlocked on Rams, is this was the first time they've played together. This is like basically the first preseason game, and that they got through it. And it wasn't perfect. It was far from perfect, but they beat a good team. They found a way to beat a really good Houston team, and it will get better. And injuries are obviously the great wild card here, but I think this is probably the low water mark of their offensive line. I think this is probably as choppy and as rusty as you're going to see them look, assuming that Avila and KD get right, or at least as right as they can. I think they'll be better next week. And, you got Philadelphia waiting for you the week after that with that front that is, probably the best one in the league. So that's going to be your best test in a couple of weeks. But I even though it wasn't great, I'm optimistic because I think it's going to get a lot better. It's the first time they played since middle of January. It's been a long time since they played together.
Yeah, and too, I think there's not like a lot of new faces too. We know that these guys have proven they can do it with this group specifically, and you get Coleman Shelton back in there doing his thing as well. By the way, people aren't letting us forget too that I don't know if you remember this, we both agree if the Rams get to the Super Bowl for the whole week leading up to that, we got to do like the Rams horns like Kevin Dotson, like in his head. I mean, the hair's not as good as his, but I mean, we got to like do whatever we can because we already agreed to that. So, I mean, people in the comments say they clipped it up, they've screenshot it, so there's really no turning back now. So it'll be a good problem to have. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I'm in. Look, I don't have a lot. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see me right now. I don't have a lot of hair to mess around with, but whatever it's
I could see it already. The horns, I could see it. Like, trust me. We'll call Kevin Dotson and make sure we get his guy too. Like, we don't go to some whatever, dude. Like, who's your horns paint guy, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I wonder if there's like a stencil that you put on your head and you just kind of spray it in on the side.
It is, honestly. But all right, guys, coming up next, horns up, horns down, winners and losers. Got PFF grades too. Who finished the best? Who finished the worst? Couple surprises in here. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. You can order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. You need parts for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. That is an absolute game changer. And the part finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every single detail matters. And of course, their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process even smoother. So join the Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use the promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Also, the NFL is back. No doubt it is. And honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting the tickets, that can be a drag, right? Between login screens and jumping prices at checkout, it can be incredibly frustrating. That's why I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Gametime, it's fast, it's easy, it's backed by the Gametime guarantee. You're always going to get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. Plus, all the fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. That is the best part. None of this, oh, okay, like that seat, like that price, tap, 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 and wait, that's not even close to what we're talking about, right? I pulled up Gametime, and in just a couple of taps, I saw amazing deals, and I'm talking about your favorite NFL game for as low as about $100. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL, LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today.
And we're off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Okay, Travis. So PFF grades are out. We'll do some winners and losers. Top 5 on offense. Stafford, Talked about that one, 92.9. We talked a lot of Puka, but he was second, 91.6. Dotson, Limmer, and Avila were the next three. So those were the top 5 on offense. And Stafford, we talked about his outstanding day. Puka Nacua caught 10 of his 11 passes. I mean, he was just incredibly forced 3 missed tackles, 7 first downs. He was fantastic. But let's start with the bottom 5. So Alaric Jackson had a 54.3 grade, Tutu Atwell 51.8, Tyler Higbee 46.3, Parkinson's 43.9, and Davis Allen 42.7. Anyone of that group really stand out to you just kind of on the eye test?
The tight ends. The tight ends, and I know Davis Allen caught a touchdown, but look, they spent their first pick in the draft, or at least after moving out of the first round on Terrence Ferguson. Let's see it. He didn't play at all. I would like to see him, because clearly none of those other tight ends really differentiated themselves and looked like a guy that you got to leave out there on the field. I like Tyler Higbee. He's been a really good Ram. DeMarco, my radio partner, said something that kind of stopped me cold a few weeks ago, that Tyler Higbee might be the greatest Rams tight end in history, and I think he's probably right. But I'm not trying to throw any shade at Tyler Higbee, but let's see what Terrence Ferguson has. I think that playmaking ability at that position is something that we've been missing. So for me, at the top of that list, I get it that Alaric Jackson wasn't great, but he also didn't feel like he was getting Stafford in a whole bunch of trouble. If that's the low water mark, okay. Will Anderson's a pretty tough guy to deal with, so I know he had to deal with that a little bit. Tutu Atwell, I will take the 5th on that. I think how I feel about Tutu. He basically wasn't there, and especially when Puka left the game, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, somebody's got to step up. It's never him. So that he was bad doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I think his best contribution was kind of stretching the field on that vertical to open things up for Xavier Smith on the left sideline for that throw. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, the numbers kind of tell the story. Higbee's an interesting one, because the thing about Higbee is it's not like he wasn't out there. I mean, Higbee, you look at where he was at in this game, he played 58% of the snaps, but he didn't get one target. And it's not like he wasn't out there running routes. I mean, he ran 22 routes. That's 11 more than Davis Allen and 13 more than Colby Parkinson, but did not get one target. So was that him not getting separations possible? Was it him not kind of getting in and out of his breaks? And the Terrence Ferguson thing is interesting. I was going to kind of save that for one of my overreactions for week 1, and that is that, the Rams aren't playing their top pick. What's wrong with Terrence Ferguson? Have things not gone his way during practice? What does it mean? I think that it's only a matter of time. You kind of want to respect the guys in front of you in the depth chart so far, and Higbee and Colby Parkinson. Let's not forget, I mean, they signed Parkinson to a $22.5 million deal with $15 million guaranteed. At least want to see what he's capable of. Davis Allen wasn't great. He did catch the first touchdown of the season. So the door is wide open for Terrence Ferguson. And he did miss some time during training camp preseason with a groin. I think it's only a matter of time. I would say by week 5, he's going to be someone that's going to be a part of this offense, and you're going to see that flex tight end action with him, some more 12 personnel too.
I hope so. And I get that they gave Parkinson a lot of money, and you want to try to get your Conforto dollars out of a situation like that. I understand.
Wait, no, I got to cut you off. Dodgers 5-0 when Michael Conforto bats cleanup.
Well, then let's roll it. Michael Conforto but it's one of those things. And one of the things I think the Rams do really well is, just because we've paid you doesn't mean we're going to play you. And, we've seen them eat contracts before. We've seen them put guys down. Just because they're making money doesn't mean you play. So I think that the clock's probably ticking there. And then lastly, on Ferguson, for me, everybody that I've talked to that understands the Sean McVay offense really well says that other than the quarterback, the hardest position to figure out is tight end. That it's incredibly complex to play tight end in a Sean McVay offense. And that a rookie is going to really struggle to get up to speed in a short period of time. So I'm with you. I think you'll see him. I know obviously they're very high on him, drafting him where they did. I think you're going to get some opportunities. We saw very briefly in the preseason where he got in there a little bit and the athleticism that he brings to that position. But I just think the complexity of it all and having a guy like Higbee who's been around as long as he has, and just even if he's not going to do it great, at least you know what he's going to do. He's going to be in the right spot. I think that he's going to have that advantage on Ferguson for a while.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think if this happens in week 2 and week 3, then I'm going to start to get worried about how Ferguson looks, what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, we saw last year, we all expected Blake Corum to get more time, and he was a 3rd-round pick. It was totally different because this was their top pick. He was a 2nd-round pick, but he's the guy that they told us that they would have picked at 26. I mean, whether or not that's true or not, we'll never know, but that's certainly what they've said. So it's only a matter of time. Terrence Ferguson is going to get those opportunities. Now, on the defensive side, as far as the PFF grades go, the top 5, Nate Landman, no surprise, 90.7. No. Jared Verse, who a lot of people thought, he didn't have a great game and this and that. He was getting held a lot, but still 90.6 PFF grade for Jared Verse, a 87.7 PFF grade for Kobe Durant, made a great interception. Byron Young had a 78.5 and Cam Kitchens a 66.4. Of course, the big play, the peanut punch by Nate Landman. He also had 10 tackles, though, 6 stops, had 0 missed tackles. So, I mean, it was the other stuff that really, if he had just gotten the peanut punch, doesn't mean you're going to have a great day. It was the other plays that made him step up. And think about Verse, too. No sacks, but he did lead the team with 4 pressures. He also drew a holding penalty on the Texans' first offensive snap. Durant, he allowed 3 catches on 4 targets, 33 yards. So those were the bright spots. Now, the negatives are for the defense. Cam Curl, Tyler Davis, Emmanuel Forbes wasn't as great as we thought. I mean, 53.8. Josiah Stewart did have a pass bow down, 53.3. Quinn Lake was part of the bottom at 39.3. That was definitely not what you expected. But the one that stands out to me is Kobe Turner, a 64.3 PFF grade. Did not have his best day. So they need more from Kobe Turner. Wasn't his best day as a Ram. And he's someone that I have no doubt is going to play better football moving forward.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Kobe Turner at all. He's a terrific player, and he will be an impact guy. I'm not even going to take the obligatory Quentin Lake, UCLA had a rough weekend shot. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to mention.
Bad enough. We lost to everyone, like straight up, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay positive. Jared Verse might not have filled up the stat sheet with, sacks and tackles for loss and all that other stuff. But, I know you watched it. If you watch number 8 do his thing, that dude is everywhere. Like, even when he's out of position and even when he's freelancing and kind of going off script or whatever, he's creating chaos all over the place. I cannot wait until he gets dialed in just a little bit more, maybe freelances a little bit less and understands the assignment, because even when he's just running around out there, he's creating all sorts of issues for the opposition. I love watching that guy play. And again, no sacks or anything like that, but my God, was he everywhere. It was terrific.
Absolutely. And you guys, honestly, you got to take PFF grades with a grain of salt. We know that. Like Akella Witherspoon, a 65 PFF grade, and he shut down every receiver that he was lined up against. I mean, Nico Collins, you gave him just 2 catches on 3 targets for 5 yards. He was outstanding. So, I mean, you got to always kind of consider this stuff. Devontae Adams as well, 4 catches for 51 yards, but did have that really nice back shoulder catch along the left sideline. Also made that first catch, took a big hit where Stingley kind of hurt his hip. I was worried about that.
That was brutal.
Wasn't that?
I honestly had is this really how the Devontae Adams era is going to start, with him getting concussed on the first play of the game and he's out and God only knows when he's coming back? And, he popped up and he gave the little first down thing along the way. And Stingley was then actually the one that stayed on the ground. That was a vicious hit. I thought that could have been a blow to the head penalty along the way too, and it didn't happen. But Devontae's going to be great. Again, a pretty quiet day for him. That back shoulder catch was fantastic. Maybe a little bit of a push off along the way, but it's only a push off if they call it, and they didn't. I don't worry about him at all. At all.
Yeah, they were definitely doing some headhunting. By the way, UCSB actually has a better football team than UCLA right now, and they don't even have a football team.
Undefeated since 91.
Undefeated. Having no football team is better than anything UCLA is doing right now. I'd rather have no football team. They just ruined my day. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. But coming up next, we got week 1 overreactions. What are we overreacting about? That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
The NFL season is here. There's nothing like the NFL, just Monday Night Football. We're getting closer to Thursday Night Football, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer, because right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you will get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. It makes every single game more exciting. So whether you're watching your team or you're just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup, or you're just checking in here or there, FanDuel makes it quick and easy and is the best way to add a little bit of juice to Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, Saturdays as we get a little deeper. And of course, they got all your baseball, NBA, NHL, everything you need at FanDuel. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That is FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Okay, so we've got week 1 overreactions. We'll get a couple of these in here, probably stretch these out for tomorrow's show. But the first one has to be that the Rams have wasted money on Darius Williams, because Darius Williams did not play. In fact, there's only 6 players on the Rams that have a bigger cap hit than Williams. Cost him $9.2 million this year. It's a lot of money for a guy that doesn't play, and especially when you got Akella Witherspoon basically playing like the league minimum, feels like every single year. Well, Sean McVay did explain it a little bit yesterday. Said Darius has done a great job. We felt like the approach was going to be with 3 corners. I've always told you guys, I look at it as we got 4 guys that have been excellent. We feel like the 3-man rotation was going to be what was best for our group. It was related to approaching that game. So that's pretty nice, but I don't really buy into it that much. To me, it sounds like, no, it just means we feel like those 3 guys are better, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to play your best guys, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about a second ago, that the Rams are not looking at their payroll and deciding who plays. They're looking at their practices, and they're looking at the film to decide who plays. And whether you're making the league minimum like Akella Witherspoon, or whether you're taking the 6th or the 9th biggest cap hit of the team with Darius Williams, you might not play if you're not performing at the high level. Now, he's going to play. They're going to need him at one point or another. The NFL, as we all know, is brutal. Guys go down. Guys, miss a week here or there, and guys need to be ready to step in. We've seen Darius Williams play really well for the Rams at various points during the season. So I'm not worried about him never getting on the field. I think that they'll probably need him at some point, but I'm not falling for we got too many good guys and not enough spots to put him. No, you're going to play your best guys, and he wasn't one of your best guys on Sunday.
So what you're saying is Jack Dreyer over Tanner Scott. That's what I'm hearing, right?
And look, I'm telling you, D-Mac, I know we spent a lot of time on the Dodgers here on Locked On Rams. Tanner Scott's going to have to pitch in October. He's going to have to do it. So they got to figure. They just keep chucking him out there until he figures it out, or they lose, because they're not going to win without him. They're going to have somebody pitch that 9th inning, and
But it's a great point, though. Honestly, it's like one thing that it's one of the million things I really love about the Rams organization is once you sign on that dotted line, you still have to perform, and there is not going to be this sunk cost fallacy with this team. You look at last year at Jonah Jackson, there's just so many examples of the Rams just going with the best guy.
They benched him in like week 2 or 3. He was just out of the rotation completely.
And I love it. I really do love it. I mean, that's when you have the biggest portfolio of sports franchises in Stan Kroenke, and we're talking billions with a capital B and in plural, 55, 15, 9 million. Like what? These are all parking tickets to this dude, right? And the thing too, it's probably not great for Darius Williams. I mean, yes, there was a height thing too, right? I mean, Nico Collins 6'4" and Akella at 6'1", and they kind of just from a matchup standpoint. but Akello plays well. Kobe Durant gets an interception, right? Forbes kind of flashed, right? There were some moments with Forbes where you're like, wow, that upside's certainly there. And then the bottom line, too, is just the overall output and the results. I mean, CJ Stroud, 188 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, threw 1 interception, and would have had another one if it wasn't for a penalty. So I think this is going to be the group. It's kind of, they have to almost lose their position to have Darius Williams, I think, step in that role.
Yeah, and injuries, time, all of those other things are going to factor in. But this is one of my favorite things about this Rams organization, and I mean this sincerely. They play the guys that should be playing. They don't play paychecks, they play players. And they always put their best guys out there. And if they got to eat a bad deal, what up, Todd Gurley? If they got to move on from a guy like Jared Goff, even though they just gave him $100 million, they'll do it. They do not just say, well, we're paying this guy all this money, let's do it. I really respect them for that. Man,
I like that. Get the t-shirts made. They play paychecks over players.
Paychecks, yeah.
They play that. If you were like in we're at my office where there's a bunch of interns, so they'd be like, that's a bar. Like that's what they do. You ever see that? Like when you say something like quotable in a line, they'll be like, that's a bar. Like it's a rap bar. And I wish I could go back in a time machine. But
I'm too old, D-Mac. I don't have any interns.
No, that's a bar, baby. That's a bar that you're cooking, man. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. And you can follow the People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers, at Travis Rogers. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.